Well, given Rishi Sunak's comments during the Tory leadership contest, this story should surprise no one. Because ever going back, right back to when Boris Johnson first started touting levelling up as this pillar of what would be his administration, and I think we can safely say that this pillar of his administration never even got built. It was never built on a stable foundation. The Tories were never serious about levelling up. They were never serious about the amount of cash they would need to spend on a levelling up program. But we've seen other countries do it. We've seen Germany put huge amounts of money into trying to level up Eastern Germany after, reunification. And it has, I'm sure people from Germany will agree and disagree, but that has to some extent largely succeeded. Now, it's taken a long time to gain parity between East and West, and some people will agree and disagree that there still isn't there. But I'll tell you this: you look at the German government that took that program seriously. They took it seriously. They understood the amount of work that was needed to do that, to achieve that type of program, to revive Germany as a whole. But then you look at our Tories and how they've gone about levelling up. And they make a big song and dance about, levelling up this, we'll do this, we'll spend this much money, we've spent this money doing this. But when it comes to it, it's been a drop in the ocean of what has been truly, truly needed to help these towns that have been left behind. And that's not, and that's what the Conservatives themselves would describe these areas as, to do nothing. This is why at the next general election, a lot of those Red Wall Tories are very, very nervous, especially now that Liz Truss is in. But so far, she has said nothing about levelling up in her speech, in her acceptance speech, and we'll see if she mentions it tomorrow. But I think you're going to have a lot of Red Wall Tories be very, very nervous. So, as always, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. There is, of course, the one-off donation link called the YouTube thank you button, which you can use as well. And of course, there is the YouTube Pony Club, which you can join down below as well. And you get sort of badges, emojis, and whatnot you can use on live stream or on the channel as well. So, we go today to The Guardian. They were covering this. Of course, this got revealed as well. Surprise, surprise, levelling up funding allocated the Southeast twice as much as the Northeast. Are we surprised? No, of course not. Southeast of England, the most affluent region in Britain outside of London, last year received almost twice as much amount as the Northeast from the government's levelling up fund aimed at boosting deprived areas. So much for boosting those areas, right? Projects in the Southeast benefited from £9.2 million from the fund in the year to March 31st of March 2022. By comparison, the Northeast only received £4.9 million, despite being the poorest region in Britain by disposable household income. No one should be shocked by this at all. The £4.8 billion fund is under scrutiny over its failure to date to deliver some of the poorest areas of the country. There are also questions over the criteria for allocating this money after the former Chancellor Rishi Sunak told an audience, which is what we mentioned earlier, that he challenged the funding formulas to divert money from the deprived urban areas. Ministers want the multi-million-pound fund to provide a cash boost to some of the poorest areas in the UK. But the new figures untamed on the Freedom of Information laws reveal that just £170 million of these funds were delivered in the year of March 2022. Jack Shaw, the researcher into local government who obtained these new figures, said that with less than 3% of the levelling up funding money actually having been spent in its first year, the rhetoric of levelling up hasn't matched the reality. The government needs to be clear about why that is the case and why the Northeast, despite being the focused on correcting the regional imbalances, has received less than the 5% of the fund's spending to date. Initially, it was hoped that £600 million would be delivered by 2021 to 2022 by the fund. This figure was revised downwards to £200 million, but not even that target has been hit. The new figures reveal that the West Midlands has received the most money in the 2021-2022, with projects receiving over £16.3 million of funds. Northern Ireland received the smallest amount, with projects receiving over just £1 million worth of cash, equivalent to just 57 pence per head of the population. While the North East received less funds than the South did, it also received more head per population, with £1.83 per capita, compared to the just £1 per head of population received in the South East. Officials say that they have allocated over £1.7 billion in the first rounds of funding, which the successful bidders were announced in October of just last year. Bids for the second round closed last month. And by the way, that's another point of contention where this should certainly be dropped. The idea that you've got to bid for these pots of money. So you've got all these deprived areas trying to bid for this money. Why not just give them the money? If they are deprived areas, why not just give them the money? But of course, you can't do that. You can't be giving these poor areas money. Who knows what they might spend it on? The Tories guffaw and say, oh. In the 2020 spending review, Sunak announced the launch of the Levelling Up Fund to support the towns and communities with the regeneration schemes. It will run over 4 years. So, so much for it running after that. They'll probably just say, oh, look, levelling up, it's been done. The methodology for allocating these funds for awards has faced criticism for not utilizing the deprivation levels to rank areas to prioritizing funding. Lisa Nadley, the Shadow Levelling Up Secretary, called for an inquiry into why some of the poorest communities have so far missed out in Levelling Up awards. A spokesperson for the Department of Levelling Up and Housing Communities said, "This is a selective use of figures and does not accurately represent the allocations for the first round of Levelling Up Fund, where the North and Yorkshire received over £159 million, more than the South East and London combined." But then, how was that actually allocated? Yet you gave them more money, but because these areas have had to compete with each other, as we've said before when we first started this, areas are getting almost next to nothing. My town has got next to nothing from this Levelling Up Fund. So, certainly, I think that is going to have to be raising a lot of questions, certainly in the next parliamentary procedure. But also, as we said at the beginning, a lot of these Red Wall Tories, very, very worried, very, very nervous about these facts coming to light over the past couple of weeks, because next time they go into a general election, remember, their core promise was, if you put us in, if you put me in as your, Conservative MP for your area, you'll get all this money. Well, where is all this money? Oh, that's right. It's been sent to the Southeast. So I think you're going to have a lot of very, very nervous MPs. And it would be interesting to see Jake Berry, how the head of the Northern Research Group, the leader of these Northern Red Wall MPs, how he's going to react and what he does in the next couple of days. So it will be very interesting to see what he does and whether any of these new Red Wall MPs, I very much doubt it, will actually get any seats in the cabinet. But as always, we'll have to wait until Wednesday to find out who's in. So until then, not till then, but we've got more videos coming out. Until then, though, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel by buying me a coffee every so often, or supporting me through the Patreon page, or through the Pony Club down below, or there's the YouTube thank you button as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, we'll see you all next time.